is going to be a slow flow in yin. You will need a blanket if you'd like to sit on something for more comfort. And during the yin portion of class, we will be going into pigeon. So if you like having a block or something comparable to that, like another blanket or a book or something like that, feel free to grab that as well. If you like to listen to music during your practice, we aren't going to play any during class, but if you'd like to play a Spotify yoga playlist to like a slow flow, something calming, that would be excellent. We're going to start in an easy seat today. So I'm sitting on my blanket just to bring my hips up a little bit higher. So you can have your palms facing down or facing up. Palms facing down if you need more grounding, or palms to face up if you were wanting to be more open to receive. So go ahead and bring your eyes to a close and we'll get started. Begin to take notice of your breath, deepening your inhales and exhales. Tuning out any external distractions, like any pets or kids or anything like that. Tuning out anything that you might have on your schedule for today. Taking notice of how your body feels today in this space. The focus of today's class will be that of gratitude and being thankful for what we have. If you'd like to use that as your intention, just the word gratitude, feel free to do so. Or if you have something else that you'd like to have as your set intention, feel free to bring that to mind now. After your next exhale, we're going to breathe in deeply through our nose, filling up our lungs. And then we're going to sigh it all out. Letting go of any tension. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale. And exhale fully. Last one, inhale. And exhale. Dropping your chin to your chest and blinking your eyes open. Beginning to touch our fingers one at a time to our thumb to bring awareness to each digit. Going through that a couple of times slowly. Once you've warmed up your hands a little bit, we're going to do some wrist circles, circling them out equal times in each direction with an open hand or a closed fist. And if this feels okay for your wrists, you can bring your hands to prayer pose and roll your wrists out this way as well, just to really get in there. And switching directions if you haven't done so already. We're going to place your left hand on the mat next to you. And we're going to reach over on an exhale and breathe into our right side body. Inhaling back up through center and switching, bringing your left hand over the top, stretching through the left side body. Coming back up through center. Bring your arms up nice and long. Bringing your gaze up to the ceiling. And exhaling to cactus, your arms to open through your chest. We're going to meet in tabletop, so if you had a blanket underneath you, just bring it off to the side for use later. And I forgot to mention that we will be ending our class with legs at the wall, so if you'd like to move some things around, pause the video if you need to get to a better location, just so you can have enough wall space, go ahead and do that now. Sorry for not mentioning it earlier. But once you've done that, go ahead and meet in a tabletop position. And we're going to move in circular movements to wake up our hips and shoulders. But first, make sure that your wrists are under your shoulders, knees under hips. We're just going to exhale and bring our hip back and around. And inhale as we come up and forward. Ooh, we might have a few snaps and pops in our hips and joints if we haven't woken them up yet today, and that is totally normal as long as it's not painful. And after you've gone about 5 times in one direction, go ahead and switch and bring your hips back and around in a counterclockwise movement. And again, you might have some pops on this side too. And after you've done 5 on each side, we'll meet back in our tabletop position. Centering yourself on your mat, making sure everything's aligned for your body in its best way. So we're going to do a few bird dogs to warm up. So we're going to start by bringing your left leg out and long with your foot flexed like it's stamping the back wall. Finding your balance here before we bring our right arm up nice and long. If bringing your arm up makes you really off balance, you can always modify by bringing your hand down and just doing the leg portion of this exercise. So on our exhale, we're going to crunch it all in, breathe all that air out, and inhale nice and long, stamping that back foot against the back wall. And that's 1. So exhale, crunch, inhale nice and long. We're going to do 3 more. So exhale, inhale, crunch, and long. And last one. After you meet in this long position, placing your right hand back to the mat, we're going to stack the hips and open up into a modified side plank. If you're feeling really strong today, you can come up into full side plank. If we're still warming up and this feels great for your body, we'll stay here. And I invite you to open up and windmill your arm and really open up through that shoulder. And switch directions once you feel like you've warmed it up one way. Beautiful, and we'll meet placing that left hand back down. We're going to step that left foot through and place the back foot flat on our mat. Then reach up nice and tall for a low lunge. Centering yourself, making sure that your knee's not tracking over your ankle, that we have good alignment here. So you're going to inhale, reach up nice and tall. Exhale, we're going to lean to the left, opening up through that side body once again. You can place your block next to you if you want a little bit more support. Reaching up nice and tall once more, passing that block under if you're using that for your support, and opening up long on the opposite side. Inhaling back up nice and long. Placing your hands on that left knee, tuck your back toes. We're going to step up into mountain pose, meeting at the top of your mat. Reaching up nice and tall, maybe coming into a baby back bend if it feels all right for you today. Inhaling up nice and tall once more. Exhale as we swan dive down into our forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift. Exhale, planting your hands, stepping back into our plank. Finding your middle position, lining your wrists up and feet up as well. Exhale as we lower all the way down to the floor. Inhale up into baby cobra. And we'll meet back in our tabletop position. Lining your wrists up under your shoulders once more, finding your center of gravity. And I turn just so you all can see me a little bit better. So we're going to this time lift our left foot up and back, or the opposite foot up and back. I don't remember which one we did. Bringing our opposite right foot up and back. Left leg, arm long. Finding your center of gravity. If you had both hands on the ground last time, feel free to use that modification again this time. We're going to do the same bird dogs as we did on the other side. Feel free to do it at your own breath, exhaling to crunch. Inhale to come long, keeping that right foot flexed as it comes back. We're going to do 5. So that's 2. 3. 4. And 5. Keeping that right leg long, placing the left hand down, stacking our hips and opening up to side plank on this side. You windmill your arm on the other side, feel free to do so here now. And again, if you're feeling nice and strong today, you can come up to your variation of full side plank. Beautiful. So planting that right hand back down, bringing that right foot through. Inhaling up to our low lunge. This time, instead of doing the lateral lean, we will do a spinal twist. If you have any low back stuff, feel free to do the lateral lean on this side again, or doing whatever modification feels best on your low back. Inhale, nice and tall. Exhale, bring the right arm back, bringing your gaze towards the back arm. Inhaling, arms come up. Exhaling, opposite arm comes back. Bringing your gaze back towards that arm, the back arm once more. Inhaling up one more time. Placing your hands on your right knee, tucking your left toes, meeting once more in our mountain pose at the top of our mat. Inhale, nice and tall. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step, hop or float into your plank. Chaturanga, up to baby cobra. Tucking your toes and meeting in downward facing dog. And if this is your first down dog of the day, or down dog just never feels super great for you, go ahead and pedal out your feet, stretching out those hamstrings. You can play with coming up on your toes, bending your knees, whatever variation feels great to give an additional stretch. If you've got wrist stuff, feel free to bring your pointer fingers a little bit more towards the corner of your mat so it doesn't put so much stress on your wrists and elbows and shoulders. Once you've found a good position for what feels best for down dog in your body, take a nice deep inhale and exhale. On your next inhale, right toes rise. Exhale, bringing your right knee to your right elbow and pause. Inhale, back up to three-legged dog. Exhale, right knee to left elbow. Pause. Inhale, back up to three-legged dog. Exhale, knee to chest, tucking and rounding. Last time, up and back. Exhale, bring that foot all the way through. Try tracking your feet if you need that for balance. Meeting in our crescent lunge. Feeling that gentle stretch in the front of our left hip. And bringing that left heel down at a 45-degree angle and opening up into our warrior two. Feeling nice and strong. I invite you to bring your palms facing up in your warrior two today, just for a little bit of a variation on what we're typically used to. Inhaling deeply. And then exhale, we're going to come into side angle. You can either bring your right elbow to your right knee, place your hand all the way on the floor, or if you have the bind, that is always an option as well. Whatever feels great for your body today. Inhaling up and back into our peaceful warrior. Feeling that sense of openness through our side body. Exhaling back into our warrior two. Inhale, straighten the front leg. Turn the toes towards the side of your mat, coming into star. Bringing your gaze up. And then exhaling down into goddess. Make sure that your knees, again, aren't tracking over your ankles. We don't want to cause any knee stuff. If you have any knee stuff, just kind of monitor how your knees feel today. So while we're in goddess, we're going to inhale and just pulse up a little bit. And then exhale, pulse down. I'm going to be here for about 5 rounds before we add an additional modification to it. So inhale, rise. Exhale, lower. Feel free to go at your own breath, making this as difficult or as easy, but offering that balance between effort and ease. We're going to add just a slight challenge. I invite you to bring your right heel to lift. If that's a little too much for you today, that's okay. You can always put a block under this right foot as well for another unique type of challenge. Or if the standard goddess is enough of a challenge today, feel free to stay there. That's meeting yourself at your body where it's at. And last one, exhale, drop that foot and meet up in star. And exhale, into Prasarita, wide-legged forward fold. Letting it all go, breathing deeply. Your next exhale, walking your hands over to your right foot. Giving a little bit of extra love to that right hamstring. Begin to turn your feet towards the front of the mat, shortening your stance just a hair. You're going to meet, bringing that left toes to rise into standing splits on the right foot. Bringing the block underneath you if you need that extra support. Once you find balance on that right foot, bringing up to rise into your warrior 3. Finding your drishti or soft gaze a few feet in front of you. Going to inhale and reach up nice and tall, bringing that left leg along with us at a 90-degree angle. And exhale, bringing it all back into warrior 3. Having a wall next to you if you need support, so you can reach out to it if you need it, or a block as well. Inhale, up nice and tall. Exhale, back into warrior 3. Doing 3 more with your breath. Inhaling to rise, and exhaling back into warrior 3. Meeting up nice and tall, planting our feet back on the mat and shaking out our legs, loosening them up after working off so hard on that right hamstring. We're going to reach up nice and tall. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, planting your hands, meeting back in plank, chaturanga, back bend of choice, and meeting up and back in downward facing dog, taking a child's pose here if you need a little bit of a recovery period. And as you pedal out on this side, you might begin to notice a difference and feeling between your right leg and left as we've worked one and not the other quite yet. Finding that center place on your mat for your downward dog where you feel nice and stable. Bringing your left toes to rise. Exhale, left knee to left elbow. Inhale, up and back to three-legged dog. Exhale, left knee to right elbow. Inhaling, up and back. Exhale, knee to chest, tucking round. Bring it up and back. Last time, planting that foot, putting your feet on train tracks if you need that extra support, and coming up into crescent lunge, feeling the stretch in the front of that right hip. Cactusing your arms, feeling a little more opening in your heart and shoulders. Inhaling up, grounding that right heel back and down. Bring that foot at a 45-degree angle and coming into warrior two on this side. Feeling appreciative for how strong our legs are in this pose. Bring your palms facing up or down. Exhale fully. Inhale, peaceful warrior. Opening up through that left side body. And exhaling down into our side angle, whichever variation feels nicest for you today. Making sure that our chest is open to the wall, that we're not dumping, but bringing the bottom ribs forward. Meeting up and back in our warrior two. Bringing our toes forward as we come into star. And then goddess again on this side. So I invite you to try and come a little bit lower this time. We're going to continue to pulse. Inhale to rise, exhale to lower. Doing so at your own pace on your own breath. And whether you placed a block or lifted up on your heel on your right foot, we're going to do the same on our left foot, coming up onto our left toes, continuing to keep the lift and lower. Enjoying the burn. Dropping that heel down, meeting back up in star. And on this side, if you'd like to turn your toes in a little bit as we come into Prasarita, feel free to do so. You'll feel a little bit more of a stretch along the sides of our lower legs and the fibularis or peroneus longus. It's an oft forgot about muscle in our lower legs, but you don't forget about it when you're in this pose, that's for sure. And if that does not feel comfortable for you, bring your feet back to facing forward or out to the side, whatever feels best for your body. Walking your hands over to your left ankle. Give it a little bit of love before we do a little bit of work on this left hamstring. We're going to turn our feet towards the front of the mat, shortening your stance. And again, grabbing that block, if that is what you used last time, or making sure that you're close to the wall. If your balance is a little less on your left foot than it is on your right, like mine is, or maybe it's the opposite for you, but that's totally normal. Meeting and standing splits on the left side. Finding your balance, making sure your toes are spread to offer all that contact with that left foot on the earth to help with stability. And then coming up with a gentle bend in the knee to rise into our warrior three. Being grateful for what our body has given us to work with today. Whether our balance is great or not, our body is doing its best. Inhale, coming up to rise as we did on the opposite side. And if you find that your balance is a little shaky today as compared to other days, try not to judge or compare to what you're quote unquote usually able to do. Our bodies vary from day to day, so it's important. Exhale, warrior three, that we note and appreciate how much our body does for us. And just different things can put us off of balance. But we have all these different options, like using the wall and blocks if needed. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. Last one, coming up to rise. Planting that foot and shaking that all out. Good job, I know that was tough, everyone. I'm going to place my block off to the side for right now. I'm going to meet, reaching tall, coming up on our toes if that feels nice. Rocking forward and back on our feet. Noticing how our feet and legs might feel different after all the balance work that we just did. And exhaling to fold. Feeling that we might fold a little bit deeper than we did at the beginning of our practice. Inhale. Exhale, coming into our last chaturanga. And after your back bend of choice, we're going to meet in child's pose, much deserved. Rocking our hips from side to side. Preparing as we are about to enter into the yin portion of class. And if you are unfamiliar with yin classes, it's typically where you hold the pose for 2 to 4 minutes at a time. But we're not relaxing into the pose. We are finding that balance of effort and ease to where you feel a good stretch, but nothing that would cause pain or injury. So if you do feel any discomfort or additional unnecessary discomfort or pain during any of these poses, back out of it. It's not worth getting injured for the glory of the pose. Walking your hands up and back into hero pose, rolling out our wrists one last time. And if you don't have your blocks or your blankets nearby, go ahead and grab them, because our first yin pose will be that of pigeon, which tends to not be everyone's favorite yin pose, but it's really great for opening up the hips, especially after we did so much work on our legs and hamstrings and hips today. So walking into a plank pose, bringing your right knee to your right wrist, bringing that foot forward. I'm going to put a blanket under my right hip. If you want a little bit more support, you can double up the blanket. You can add some blocks. Get kind of set up for your pigeon pose, wherever that might be. Going to inhale and rise, bring your chest up, gazing up towards the ceiling. And exhaling, coming down onto our forearms if that's available. If you have a bolster or something to kind of give you that additional support, feel free to do that now. We will be here for 3 minutes. I'm keeping time, don't you worry. So finding your first edge here. Breathing in and out through your nose. And while we're in this pose, I want you to think back to a wonderful time that you have had recently. I want you to think back on it and express gratitude for that time and being thankful for the circumstances that opened up space for that occasion to occur and for you to be joyful during that time. I want you to envision that while we are holding into this space where we tend to potentially not hold a lot of gratitude here. Being grateful for the space that our body is allowing us to open currently. And we are at about the halfway point. So at this point you might find that you're able to come down just a little bit further, finding that second edge. Beginning to wiggle your toes and fingers and slowly coming out of this pose, coming up to rise, placing the block off to your left side, bringing that blanket around, dropping onto that right hip, swinging that left leg around. Bringing your right foot into your left thigh, flexing the left toes with your leg long. And our next pose will be head to knee pose, Janu Sirsasana. You can bring the blanket here if you want to have a little bit of additional support, or if you have a bolster, feel free to use that as well. We will be here again for about 3 minutes, inhaling nice and long, exhale, folding. Bringing your chest straight towards your knee, feeling that edge, first edge in the left hamstring. Breathing into that left hip and hamstring. the halfway point. If you're able to walk your hands a little bit more forward to find that second edge, do so. Again, if there's any pain, back off just a little bit. Got about 30 seconds left here. Begin to wiggle your toes and slowly walking your hands back up to a tall seated position. Bring your feet in together for butterfly pose, flapping your wings to shake it off. Inhaling deeply and exhaling through your nose or through your mouth. If you need to sigh it all out, feel free to do so. After you shake that out, we're going to come to Janu Sirsasana with our left foot into our left thigh. Fret out, we will come into pigeon on the other side. We're just going around it in a different manner this time. So using any props that you used last time, getting those in place, inhaling nice and tall, and coming forward with your hips squared off towards that right foot. We will be here again for 3 minutes. And I'm keeping watch. And as we come into this opposite side, I want you to begin to think of a challenging season that you've encountered in your life. It might be the season we're currently in. It might be something else. But whenever you think of this, I want you to think of it without any attachment to the emotions that occurred during that challenging season. And I want you to kind of send out words of gratitude to yourself for pushing forward and walking through that difficult time. And I want you to think about what things that you've gained from going through that difficult piece of your life. Because, I mean, you've gotten through it, you've taken one step forward, putting one foot in front of the other, and what qualities has that tough season been able to provide you with? And if you're unable to detach from the emotions during that time, feel free to return to that time that you were able to come up with that was joyful for you. Just giving yourself gratitude no matter your situation. We're at the halfway point, so walking your hands out to that second edge. If you're able to grab that foot, fantastic. If not, that's great too. Finding your edge. It's your body and not anybody else's. Don't forget to breathe. You've got about 30 seconds left. Wiggling your toes and slowly walking yourself back up to seated. Slowly bringing that knee in, dropping onto our left foot, coming up and around into plank once more. Bringing left knee to left wrist. That was my ankle, I'm sorry. And coming into pigeon on our left side, again using any props that feel nice for you to give you that additional support for the balance of effort and ease. Reaching up nice and tall and coming down into our first edge. We'll be here again for 3 minutes. Bringing your thoughts back to your intention of gratitude. And breathing into that left hip. You're at the halfway point, finding that second edge, or staying at your first edge if that's as far as your body wants to go today. Backing out of this pose if at any point it feels painful or sharp. You've only got 30 seconds left. Wiggling your toes and slowly backing out of this pose, coming onto that left hip, swinging our legs around and moving our blanket off to the side, putting it up against the wall if you like having your blanket under your low back during legs up the wall. With our knees bent, we are going to slowly lower one vertebrae at a time all the way onto the floor. I'm going to stay sitting up so that you can hear me okay. And once we reach our full of our back on the floor, we're going to windshield wiper our legs from side to side. Giving our bottoms a little bit of a massage, low back a little bit of a massage. And bringing our knees into into our chest while we stay supine. Hugging them in, squeezing them in. Bringing your left leg long, squeezing that right knee into our armpit. Grabbing it with our left hand and coming into a spinal twist to the left, like so. Either cactusing your right arm or bringing it out long and gazing to the right. Bringing our knees back in, squeezing and giving a big hug. Bringing our left leg long, taking our left hand on our right knee, opposite hand on opposite knee. Bringing it, twisting on the other side. Either cactusing the left arm or bringing it long, gazing in that direction. Or keeping your gaze towards the ceiling. Coming back into midline one last time, squeezing our knees into our chest. And during this portion of class, we'll be coming up into legs up the wall. So again, I mentioned earlier, if you like a blanket, feel free to place that at the wall. And how I like to come into legs up the wall so it's a little more graceful, so to speak. I don't think it's ever graceful. But bringing your hip up and then bringing your legs up one at a time. See, not that graceful. And bringing your knees and feet up and coming up and adjusting the blanket to your low back, however you like it. And we will be here for a couple of minutes, so either leaving your legs up, coming into a V position, or into bound angle, whatever sounds best for your body today. We will be here for a couple of minutes. I'm going to sit up so that you can hear me better as I read a quote. Gratitude unlocks the fullness of life. It turns what we have into enough and more. It turns denial into acceptance, chaos into order, confusion to clarity. It can turn a meal into a feast, a house into a home, a stranger into a friend. Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. Melody Beattie. If you would like to remain in legs up the wall for your Shavasana, feel free to do so. If not, I'll give you a few moments to gather yourself and come into the Shavasana final resting pose of your choice. If you'd like to give yourself any blocks, bolsters, blankets for support. Getting comfortable, tucking your shoulder blades up underneath, palms facing upward, and bringing your eyes to a close or a soft gaze. We will do 3 cleansing breaths before we go into our rest for a few minutes. So exhale fully wherever you're at. Inhale deeply through your nose. And sigh it all out. Inhale. And sigh. Last one. Sighing as we rest into our final Shavasana. Slowly beginning to bring awareness back into your body. Perhaps wiggling your fingers and toes, feeling as the sensations come back with every little movement. Perhaps making a loose fist and then opening our hands wide to really get those sensations moving again. And if your legs are still up on the wall, gracefully as possible, bringing them back down to the earth. And if you're laying in corpse pose, coming into laying on your side of choice. with your eyes remaining closed. And once you're ready, pushing up into the simple seated position that we started our class with today, with your chin tucked into your chest, and blinking your eyes open to adjust to color and light. Hands to heart center, and bringing your gaze back upwards. I would like for you to thank yourself for bringing yourself to this practice today. And I would really like to thank you all for joining me in my first practice. Really appreciate it. And I want to end our class with Namaste. So bringing your thumbs to third eye. Namaste. Thanks, guys.